Thank you for joining us as we take a look at how to write to data files in Business Rules. I'm going to show you how to open a new data file and begin writing to it, and also how to add new records to a data file that already exists. Information can be written to a file using the write and rewrite statements, but first you have to open the file. You create an internal file the first time you open it. So here we have open statement, and then I'm using file handle number 3, a colon, and the name of my new data file is going to be called product list. And as you can see, it's a new data file, and my record length is going to be 63. It's internal, open for output, which means I'm outputting information from my program into my file. And it's open relative, which means BR will open it one record at a time in order. And I'm adding an error handling loop called error handling. Let's take a look at these 3 items and what they could be replaced by in different open statements. Instead of internal, files could be opened external or display as well. Display files can be read in any standard text editor, while the other 2 are BR-specific formats. They can also not be opened out in and can only be accessed sequentially and cannot be used with the index command. The main difference between internal and external files is that internal files are BR files that have a header line which provides details about the data file, including record length. External files are opened as is. Files can be opened input, output, or out-in. Input will input information from the file into the program, and output will output information from the program into the file. Out-in will allow for both, which makes it useful for editing your data files. Then files can be opened relative, sequential, or keyed. Relative access means that the record will be identified and read according to its numeric order. Sequential, which is the default, means that the records will be read one at a time in order from start to finish. Keyed means that the record will be opened according to a specific key field, and it also uses a key file. Now back in our program, I'm going to add a few lines to allow us to receive input from the user. I'm just going to print a prompt to the command console and then input 3 different variables. Prod num for product number, name $, and I'm going to use the internal function LWRC, or lowercase, to record it as the lowercase version of whatever name they put in. And then wait for the wait. So we're going to have 3 items in our product list data file. Next, the write statement. So write number 3 using form N5, C50, and N8.3 to correspond with the characteristics and lengths of our 3 variables. The N8.3 means it'll be a number, and it will be 8 spaces including a decimal point and 3 decimal spaces. And that goes in quotations. Then a colon and the 3 variables. Since name $ is 50 spaces, we also have to add a dim statement to set it to 50. And the close statement is the shortest and simplest step. And I'm adding our error handling statement. It's pretty much just the filler statement for now. And the end statement. Then in BR, go ahead and run your program, and it will ask you for the 3 items to save as variables. And then it writes it to our file, product list. And to check to see the information in that data file, you can use the command type product list, and there it is, 1 record. However, you'll usually want to add more than 1 record at a time. And so we're going to make some changes to the program. Since it's already opened, we're going to switch the new to use, since product list data file already exists. New is only used for creating new files and will error if the file already exists. With use, If the file does not exist, it will create one. Otherwise, it will just use it. And if you know that your file is in existence already, you don't have to use either new or use. And everything else will remain the same, except we're going to add a loop that prompts the user to add more records. So after we write the one they already entered, we'll add a prompt, add another, yes or no, and then input again $ as a variable, and then we'll use a simple if-then statement to handle their input. Notice that I'm using the internal function uppercase so that the input is not case sensitive. And if they decide no, we'll send them straight down to the end of the program. If they enter yes, then we'll send them up to the prompts to enter more information. And always remember your quotation marks. Add the write again line label so that the flow of the program will come back up here and the user can add some more information to the data file. Then run your program and it'll prompt you to enter a data item, and then it will let you choose yes or no to add another data item, and you could keep on adding more items indefinitely. Then it will write to our data file and complete the program. And just to demonstrate that it's in our data file, we can print it out again, and there you can see it. Now, at some point, you might realize that you've made a mistake and you'd like to edit one of the records in your data file. You can do that using the rewrite statement. We're going to have to make some changes. First, we're going to add and create a key file and a key to search by, and we'll have to make some changes to the open statement. We'll read it keyed and out in. We'll add the key file name, product key. And our key start position is going to be 1, since we're going to use the product number for our key, and the key length is 5. I'm going to add an option that prompts the user and lets them choose to either add a new file or edit. And I'm going to use a multi-line if statement to handle the answer. And once again, I'm using the uppercase internal function so that the answer isn't case sensitive. And we'll add the open statement here in case they decide to add another item to the data file. Notice that there's use and the key file name is product key. Then we'll add an else to our if statement. It's followed by our open statement. I'm going to add some code to prompt them to enter which product number, which will be input p key, which then becomes our key. Then read number 3 using our format specifications. And comma key equals convert, which is an internal function for changing numeric variables into string variables. And in parentheses, we'll put quotations and the format specification of the piece we're using, and then comma p key, which is the product number that the user input for us to look up and edit. Then add a colon and our 3 variables. And then we add an end if to end the if statement. And we missed our form statement earlier, so go ahead and add that. Since in the first part of this demonstration we weren't accounting for a key file or a key, we're going to have to index our data file. And you can also do this at any point that your key file becomes corrupted and you need to reindex it. And it's a business rules command, index, and the data file name, which in this case is product list. Then the index file name, which in this is product key. And then the first key start position, which is 1, and the key length 5. And the keyword replace, which will, instead of erroring, replace the key file if it happens to already exist. And you can see the message that it was successful. Then run WritePro, and we can search by a product number, and look, it prints the information. Now that we've gotten our program to print out the record of our choice, we're going to make some changes to use rinput, which is a combination of input and print, to allow the user to edit the record they've selected. Rinput can only be used with string variables, so we're going to add some code to modify our numeric prod num and weight into strings, rinput them, and then put them back into numeric form to save in the file. With our string variable name, we can simply change it to rinput. But with the numerics, we're going to use convert, the format specification, and the variable name to form it into a string. Rinput the string. And then we'll use val to convert it back. Then notice our rewrite statement looks just like our write statement. And remember, convert always has a $sign. Then when you run your program, you can edit it, select the product number you want to edit, and then it will allow you to make changes, pressing enter to continue to move through the program. Let's change this to 3-legged table and change the 12 to 10 since it's lighter now. The type command can be used when the program is finished running to demonstrate the changes we've just made. Now let me show you how to edit your data files and add entries using file layout. First you have to create a file layout. Product list is the name of our data file. Then we'll assign the prefix PR underscore, and this is 0, version 0. Our key file is product key, and our key is the prod num variable, and we know our record length is 63. The equal signs make it easy to see. Then we list our variables, prod num, which is the product number, and we know it's N5. Then name, which is the product name, and it's C50. And last, weight, which is the weight, and N 8.3. Then you save it under the name products in your file A folder. And remember not to include any extensions. And when you run file.io, you can see that our file layout appears in the list, products. Using file.io, you can view it. These are all the records, product names, product numbers, and weight that we have in our data file so far. Notice that with file.io, it always shows the string variables first and then the numeric variables, and that's why product name comes first. You can sort it alphabetically by clicking on the column title. And I'm going to hit quit. And there's a secret button in file.io, F5, which allows you to edit it. It's a secret because we don't want people accidentally editing things. So notice here, 564 is not a good product name. So let's change it to plastic bins. And at the bottom, you can add, save, etc. And I'm going to save this. Well, thank you for joining us as we took a look at the write and rewrite statements today. Next up is user-defined functions.